There is a growing concern over blood shortage in public and private hospitals in Kenya. Adequate access and safe transfusion of this life-saving tissue is key to ensuring equal, timely, quality and affordable healthcare. This is the situation of this special body fluid in the country. World Health Organization WHO report 2022 noted that the demand for blood in Africa, including Kenya, surpassed the supply, which has impacted negatively on timely access to supplementary safe blood by patients who are in need of this critical fluid soft tissue. In August 2022, Western Region's Health Executive Collins Matemba announced an impending health crisis attributed to reluctance by residents to donate blood due to an acute shortage of blood, as stocks at the Regional Transfusion Center in Kakamega, with a fully equipped facility including storage refrigerators and other requisite equipment, serving counties of Vihiga, Bungoma, Busia, Trans Nzoia, and Nandi, ran dry of the precious body fluid.
I think what I will say to you is that when any facility has called on us or any county has said they have had a shortage, we have stepped in. Because we always say, and we have, perhaps the other thing we need to be able to say to you is that we have had the opportunity to be able to set up what you call, work with counties to establish what you call county blood transfusion coordinators. Now those CBTCs, as we call them, part of their role is to liaise with us if they have any gaps. And the reason for setting up these establishments is that on an ongoing basis, it makes sure that people are talking to each other. And if there is a gap, then we are able to respond to it.
Dr. Nduku Kilonzo, the Chief Executive Officer CEO at the Kenya Tissue and Transplant Authority KTTA, succeeding the defunct Department of the Kenya National Blood Transfusion, Tissue and Human Organ Transplant Services KNBTTS, which was on the spotlight over claims of malpractices by unscrupulous officials, allegedly selling stolen blood from Kenyan blood banks to the neighboring Somalia.
This was the 2020 scandal. So in 2020 scandals, we had a scandal. One, the only way to speak to that is to tell you that an investigation by government continued. However, as I have said before in our conversation right here, that was part of what initiated reforms to the National Blood Service that have ended up with the reforms that I have talked about.
Dr. Nduku now says the country has the adequate blood stock in their blood bank.
So I think that the reason why we have had a significant increase for the first time in Kenya as a country since independence, you can say that, we were able to raise 348,000 units. That being a 248% increase from the year 2020. So these lessons that we have learned, these new partnerships have been part of helping us move towards getting to our blood goal.
KTTA was then birthed by the Ministry of Health Kenya MOHK under the immediate former Health Cabinet Secretary CS Mutahi Kagwe, following the growing public outrage who expressed dissatisfaction over the allegations, making the CS to deem the office unfit to exist and initiate radical reforms which resulted to its disbandment. The service has initiated institutional reforms at the Institute with the objective to ensure access to safe and ethical use of human cells, tissues, organs, and the safety, biosafety, and well-being of donors and recipients.
In banking capacity, part of the reforms here that the ministry initiated in this institution was leadership reforms, management reforms, human resource reforms. And it is those reforms that have got us to where we are today.
If you were to say, were any individuals held accountable for their bad doing or the report or after the investigations, were there any results that are besides now coming up with the regulations?
Can I separate the issue of the regulations and the issue of that? Because I think it is important to note that when the investigations were done, what the ministry did, part of it was to change the staffing in the National Blood, what was then a department, to where we are. And that's why I said there were changes in the leadership of the department, there were changes in the management, meaning the people who are at the top management level, and there were changes in human resource. Now, in terms of what happened with the staff who are there, then thereafter, it is an issue that I will leave and refer you to human resource of the ministry.
Dr. Nduku outlines plans on how the current institute will regulate the sale and or a sharing of donated blood between private and public hospitals to ensure transparency and accountability is adhered to.
The World Health Organization calls all those products that come from human beings, medical products or medicines that come from human beings, human-derived medical products. This includes blood, tissues, organs. Why? They are usually from another human being. They're usually given in life-threatening situations. They have no pharmaceutical replacement. If a doctor tells you transfusion of blood, I'm not sure that you can go to a pharmacy and buy blood, per se, like, artificial blood. You will need a human being to have donated. The other thing, which is where the question that you have asked about private-public, remember, the duty of government is to serve all Kenyans, whether they are served in the private sector or in the public sector. The only difference, in my view, between private and public is that some people are more able to have a higher income, disposable income, that they may choose to go to a private hospital. So what we did was do two things. One is revive and review the organization of blood establishments. And this is the new organization of blood establishments. You have the levels of blood establishments and the functions. But we also went ahead and then developed standards for setting up blood establishments, so that whether it is a private hospital that is providing blood, they are guided by the Kenya National Standards for blood transfusion. And if they are setting up any blood center, so for instance, you would find like Kenyatta National Hospital will have a blood center that it collects blood and produces blood, whereas Pumwani does not collect and produce blood products. They simply receive from the National Bank. But both are hospitals. So it was categorizing depending on function. And then, with that categorization saying, depending on your category, these are your standards.
KTTS focus on blood services during the financial years 2020, 2021 and 2022 include leadership, management and human resource changes, expansion of transfusion infrastructure, building functional capacity including blood fridges, freezers, cold rooms, biobanks, platelet agitators, and centrifuges for components, quality systems, commodity security meant for forecasting and quantification systems for blood bags, grouping reagents and testing reagents for HIV, syphilis, hepatitis B and hepatitis C, and finally accountability and visibility. All the infected units are then separated from the clean units, where labeling and sorting happens in blood binds. The Institute has introduced new regulatory framework with new standards for regulation of blood services, including Kenya Standards for Blood Transfusion Services, Kenya Standards for Setting Up Blood Establishments, the National Cold Chain Manual, Clinical Guidelines for Rational and Appropriate Use of Blood Products, and Hemovigilance Manual.
Blood drive. It all starts from here at this mobile facility where blood donors avail themselves and they stream in small number. No matter what, they still got their details picked, and thereafter they proceed to hemoglobin center where their blood is tested. Thereafter, they are directed to proceed to donate blood that will be used to save a life.
First, we give our donors the questionnaires. They fill the questionnaires. We go through with the questionnaires. After the questionnaires are filled, we take the weight. After taking weight, there's a medical exam which is taken, like the hemoglobin, they check the blood pressure. From there, if the donor qualifies, is eligible for donation, is given a blood bag. The blood bag can be double, single, or a quadra. Then from there, if one is given a blood bag, then it means he's eligible for donation. Then he's ready for blood donation.
I came here to donate blood, but unfortunately, due to some prevailing reasons, I couldn't donate blood today. But it's the thought that counts, and I'm very happy that I came here today, and I hope to donate in the next time or the other occurring situations or circumstances.
Okay, so my name is Samuel Macharia. I'm the Human Resource Manager at Crown Plaza Nairobi Airport Hotel. And today, as our IHG theme suggests, Giving for Good, we choose to come out to the rest of the world to give what is most precious in a human being, and that's the blood, to those who badly need it. So that's why today I choose to participate, not only as a HR manager for Crown Plaza Nairobi Airport, but as a donor also to participate in this noble cause, and I've given out my blood for good to save a life.
The donated blood is first quarantined at the cold room before labeling and sorting. When collected from field, awaiting to be processed.
This is the blood grouping lab. This is where we determine the blood groups of the blood donors by testing the plasma, which has the antibodies, and testing the antigens on the surface of the red blood cells. This helps in determining the blood groups, which are A positive, B positive, O positive, AB positive, and then the negative of all of them. That is the A negative, B negative, AB negative, and O negative.
After the long day in field, it is a day like any other. Experts on duty at Kenya's National Blood Bank Center, based at the Kenyatta National Hospital.
So this is the blood grouping lab. This is where once blood has been donated, a sample is put in the purple top, and it is by using this purple top that we carry out the blood group. We carry out the ABO and RH system. Those are the blood groups that are mainly found in Kenya, though there are many other blood groups across the world, but we normally test for ABO and RH. So what happens is that we check the antibodies in the plasma and the antigens on the surface of the red cells, and in that case we are able to determine what blood group a donor has. And we have different blood groups. That is, we have the A positive, B positive, O positive, and AB positive. And then we have the blood negatives of all of them. That is A negative, B negative, AB negative, and O negative, which is quite rare in this country. So we are using the two analyzers. This is the NEO and the IRIS. These machines are very sensitive and they help us to detect the weak D. They are very good in the weak D detection that has been very difficult when it comes to the manual equipment. But so far it's very specific and we are able to get the correct blood groups.
According to Christine Karemi Yegon, the manager, testing services at KTTS says countrywide, Kenya has 5 apheresis machines, an automated machine used for blood component preparation. KTTA is however expecting 4 more machines during this financial year ending 2023. A dose by apheresis is equivalent to 10 doses of manually processed components.
It's an apheresis machine. We prepare products from it, mainly platelets. It's a machine that when you are preparing the platelets, the red blood cell will go back into the patient and will remain with the platelets. So what we capture is only the platelets. If we want the red blood cells, the packed red blood cells, we just pick we pick the packed red blood cells. So it is a machine which is very selective on whatever you want, whatever commodity you want or the product you want. is what you will pick. If it is platelets, you pick platelets. If it is plasma, you will separate plasma. If it is packed red cells, there you go.
The plasma extractor component preparation separates plasma from the red blood cells ready for freezing. So far, the department has only 2 automated plasma extractor machines. Fresh frozen plasma FFP usually lasts for a year and are stored under -40 degrees Celsius. The component contains all of the clotting factors, including factor 8, meant to help patients with burns, bleeding, or accident victims. Thawing, the process of ice, snow, or another frozen substance becoming liquid or soft as a result of warming up, takes place before transfusion is done. Packed red cells kept at the sorting room help in anemia patients who have lost a lot of blood, as they improve oxygen carrying capacity of the cells and improve hemoglobin level. For the platelets concentrate, the platelets agitators are designed for storage of platelet concentrates and are designed to provide continuous gentle horizontal motion to the parts, typically at a fixed speed and at a temperature of 22 degrees Celsius. The clotting factors are not frozen and can only last for a period of 5 days.
From grouping, it is at this stage where blood is brought for screening of HIV, hepatitis B, hepatitis C, and syphilis.
And this is where we use the red top. This is the plain top that is uniquely identified and it's bar-coded. This is the identity that we use to identify every donor uniquely. And this is the number also that we use for confidentiality purposes. This number has the year that the blood was donated, the unique number, and also the team that was used to go out for collection. So for blood screening of the 4 parameters that are recommended by WHO in Kenya, we use the 2 Abbott machines that use the chemiluminescent microparticle immunoassay principle. These are very sensitive and specific machines.
KTTA is expected to put measures in place to ensure Kenya is at par with global standards for governance and management of blood tissues, resolve the unregulated organs and other tissues transplantation such as illegal blood and organ harvesting, answer the unregulated safety and quality of blood. The body plans to save Kenya from billions of shillings lost by those seeking medical services abroad through medical tourism, unravel the inequality in access to advanced medical care, poor donation culture, solve the blood and organs testing, banking and reallocation infrastructure, crack the strategic reserves bank's menace in case of emergency, and securing Kenyans' biodata and tissue samples.
I am not saying you don't hold us to account. Hold us to account. But also remember that every time it's just a story because there is a story to say, it will have an impact on somebody's life. So if it's working, give the good part of what is working and encourage more and more people to go for it.
Since the United States Agency for International Development USAID has stopped funding blood drive and harvesting processes mostly in learning institutions in the country, the noble initiative has since died off, with key partners, especially the Kenyan government and other stakeholders including donors, appearing reluctant and or unable to sustain such a program.
Yes, I'm laughing because we had a very interesting a conference on blood the other day, and when young people were having their session, they called it from soda and bread to sustainable donations. That is why I'm laughing, because I think many of us remember the sodas as an incentive to donating. So today we have partnerships. Partnerships include with the Rotary Club of Kenya, and Rotary has branches all over the country. So at any one time we will have campaigns running across different parts of the country. Today as we are talking, we had the Mashujaa Drive. I think if you saw in the media, even some governors for instance, I believe the Garissa governor went to actually open the blood donation drive for the Mashujaa Day. So we have drives like that, but we also have other support and partnerships. We have partnerships with the Kenya Police, who allow us then to go to their training institutions. We have partnerships with the what do you call them? The Boda Boda.
The Kenya Tissue and Transplant Service KTTA has assured Kenyans that there is enough blood in the country, hence no need to worry. But it is calling on Kenyans to ensure that they move in large numbers to donate blood. Stanley Lugaria, The Informer, uncovering the truth.